So the challenge for this lesson was to change the max tip amount on the slider to be 40%. You'll have to do that using a method that we haven't talked about. So to find out what that method would be, we'd have to go to the documentation and look at the slider documentation to see if we can find a method that changes the max value on the slider. So I'm going to look up UI slider in the documentation. And if I wanted, I could read this overview to read more about the slider. And I could go through these list of methods to see if there's anything that will sound like it will help me change the maximum value. And there actually is one here called maximum value, and it's a property, so I know that I can set and get it. So I can click on it to read more about it. And I can see that it's a float value that contains the maximum value of the receiver. So to change that value when the app starts up, I'm going to go to my viewDidLoad method in the .m file of the TAD view controller. And I'm going to say slider set maximum value 0.40. And now I also need to change the maximum value label to reflect that. And I'm just going to do that in Interface Builder. So let's run that to make sure that part's working. Great, that works. And there was one more part of the challenge, and that was to make this keyboard display this number panel instead of these letters when it pops up, which makes sense since we want the user to type in numbers. So to do that, we'll select the UI text field and go to the Attributes Inspector. And if I didn't know what to do here, I would just look through to see if there's anything that looks like it could change it. And this says keyboard, and I see that there's numbers and punctuation, and there's also number pad. You can try any of these and it's not going to break anything. I will tell you that number pad, the drawback of that is that there's no decimal point. So if you wanted to type in the full bill amount with a decimal and some cents, then you couldn't use the number pad. So I'm just going to use numbers and punctuation. And then we can run that. And now we see that when we tap on the bill amount UI text field, we get the numbers display that pops up first. So if you were able to get that on your own, that's really, really good, and you're well on your way to becoming a great app developer. So I'll see you in the next lesson.